Hi everyone, Dr. Gillespie here to walk you through week 1 of EDCIT 510. So to get us started, I'm going to flip my screen over so I can explain to you what the expectations of week 1 and to kind of show you how to submit assignments, discussion boards, things like that. So let me flip my screen over and we'll get started. So like I told you in the last video, every time you log into Blackboard, you will be on the announcement page. So in the announcement page, over here on the left side on your left navigation bar, click on the week that you want to for the assignment. So we're going to go to week 1, since we're talking about week 1. Okay. And all the weeks follow suit to this. So the very first thing you'll see after you click on week 1 is the directions, the overall general directions. So week 1 is from August 7th to the 13th. So that means all assignments for week 1 are going to be due on Sunday, August the 13th at 11:59 p.m., which we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute too. So for this week, we're going to be focusing on part 1 of the dynamic child, which are chapters 1 through 3. And chapters 1 through 3 really talk about the development of children in general, broad terms. So child development, research, and heredity and environment, the overview of what you're going to be reading throughout the entire term. And we're also going to be looking at our development as individuals ourselves. So we are going to have a project called the Who Am I Project that we'll talk about in just a little bit to have you think about how your development has impacted who you are today and also how you'll interact with children in your educational setting. So to get started, all you have to do is click on the folder for week 1 and read the directions and guidelines. So clicking on the folder, the very first thing you'll see in the main folder is the directions and guidelines. Under that, there's going to be folders for the assignments, the discussion boards, sending you over to Pearson Revel so you can do your My Virtual Child simulation and also the videos that you will be watching as well. So the very first thing that's very important is going to be your week 1 directions and guidelines. So if you click on that, it's going to download a file. And since I'm using Google Chrome, which you should be as well because it works best for Pearson, it will be down here on the bottom. So I'm going to click on that so I can open it. And here it is, the directions for the entire week. So just like the beginning folder said, it kind of tells you an overview of what we're going to be looking at for this week. So it's going to be a very broad overview of child development and us looking at our own development. So the next section in your directions and guidelines is what to do for this week. And it is very, very detailed. I tried to put it in order as you should do it to kind of help you, but you can kind of jump around with some things, but some things it's better that you don't. So for instance, you're always going to see things like the video first. So always view the video first, which I will put in under the directions and guidelines. I'm making it right now, so as soon as I'm done and I'm uploading it, it will be there. And then the next thing you're going to see is always going to be the simulation. Your textbook kind of walks you through the simulation. So as you start reading in chapter 1, it's going to say, kind of now do this part or things like that. So you can kind of follow it as you need. The simulation will take you a little bit of time to do, and you can't do the journal prompts if you don't do the simulation. So it's best if you kind of do those together as best as you can. And the book really kind of takes you through and tells you how you should do that. So as you're reading the textbook, you should be doing the program the My Virtual Child program, and also answering the journal prompts as they come. And also, with that said, the videos for the Observing the Dynamic Child are embedded into each chapter. So it's best that you also go ahead and do the videos at the same time. So if you want to kind of group it by chapters, it would be very helpful. So just kind of going through, following the directions with the book is the best, but doing the things as you see fit that works the best for you. But I personally would do it simultaneously together. The only part that you can't do is respond to your peers. You can't do that until you're completely done with reading chapters 1, or reading all the chapters for the part, watching all the videos, doing the simulation, and doing all the journal prompts. So that's the only one that has to kind of be done at the end. And we'll talk about that a little bit more too. So for week 1, as I was saying, the best thing to always do is to watch the video. And after you watch the video for this week, it's explaining the directions and all of that, and I'll show you how to upload some things as well. You have a couple of other things that you should do. So before you start getting into the textbook and all of that, make sure that you take the pre-course online survey. And this survey really helps me understand what you're coming in with, because like I said in the introductory videos, some of you come in with various experiences with online classes. So this helps me to differentiate and reach out to you if I see that you may need help in more areas, or that maybe you could help somebody, or somebody has expertise. We can work together the best way that we can to do that. So this Google form, there's a link here. All you have to do is click on it, and it will take you over to the pre-course survey. So all you have to do is click on the link and take it. It won't take you very long to do that survey, but it will take probably about 5 minutes, depending on how much time you spend on the written parts at the end. But please give me really good information about yourself so that I can help you be as successful as possible. So after you take your pre-course survey, you need to look over your syllabus. So the syllabus, read it and review it, and then take the quiz for it. You can use the quiz at the same time with the syllabus, that is fine. Just make sure that you're reading the syllabus and that you're taking the quiz. And that's really just to make sure that if you answer something or you don't answer it completely, I can go in and help you understand the syllabus a little bit better. Okay. So the next parts, like I was telling you, are really going into the Mantis's, the dynamic child. So it's best to do them in conjunction together. So reading the textbook, doing the simulation, doing the journal prompts, doing the videos at the same time. But you can work it out however you need to. I honestly would just do them all together as you're going through each chapter. So in the dynamic child, we're going to be focusing on part 1, which is chapters 1, 2, and 3. And part 1 is the foundations of developmental science. So it's going to talk about theories. It's going to talk about theorists. It's going to talk about child development research, what research is. And there's going to be some videos in there as well. In chapter 2, there's also going to be some videos. And then in chapter 3, there's going to be some videos and some journal prompts. Part 1 of the Mantis book does not have a lot of journal prompts, and also it doesn't have you doing too much with your virtual child. You're getting it set up to go into part 2. So there's a little bit, so this week it's a little bit light on the journal prompts and on the virtual child simulation. However, coming up in the following weeks and the following parts of the textbook, there's going to be a lot more involvement with you raising your child and things like that. So all you have to do is complete those in whatever order works best for you. As I said, I would do them simultaneously together as you're going through the textbook. And then the last thing that you're doing for this week as well is you're doing the Who Am I personal development project, which we'll talk about a little bit more in just a minute. So you're going to, one, review the guidelines in the rubric. You're going to view my example, which is in the discussion board, and then you're going to create your own project following the guidelines, the rubric, and my example as needed. You're going to submit this project in the assignment folder and also into Blackboard, and you're in the assignment folder in Blackboard, and you're going to post it to the discussion board in Blackboard to where your peers can view and respond to you and welcome you to the class as well. So the last part in your directions and guidelines is just kind of a checklist of the things that are due this week. So for week 1, as I was telling you, everything is due on Sunday. And this Sunday is August the 13th, so everything is due at 11:59 p.m. So you have your syllabus quiz, your pre-course survey, your Who Am I personal development project. You're working on part 1 of your Mantis book, so you're going to read chapters 1 through 3. You're going to do the virtual child simulation, which is creating your virtual child. You're going to do chapter 3. Chapter 3 is the only chapter this week that has any journal prompts in it. And you're going to do the videos for chapters 1 through 3. And then you have 2 discussion board posts. So you're going to post your Who Am I personal development project to the discussion board and your chapter 3 journal prompts. Now, you are going to notice that it says post. Next week for week 2, you're going to have a section called discussion board peer responses. I don't expect you to post and respond at the same time. That doesn't give everybody enough time to do what they need to do. So I have a certain date for you to post your initial post, and then I have a response date. So you'll see that coming up in week 2. So the next part in the directions and guidelines is your preview for week 2. So as I was saying, this week is all about child development research theorists, background, genetics, heredity, environment, and then next week we'll start looking at infants and toddlers. As for the overview of week 1, the directions and guidelines, this video is going to end. However, I am going to make a video for each of the assignments to kind of show you how to access Revel and also how to submit assignments into Blackboard. So in each of the folders underneath, which I will go and show you how to access this as well, you will go back into Blackboard. Okay. And you would just click on each of these assignments, and I will show you a little video of how to submit and how to access and how to navigate through Pearson and all of those things. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, please email me and let me know, and I will be happy to answer any questions you have.